Hey yo everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video. And today we're going to be doing my comic load for the week, as well as news, updates, questions, answers. And instead of doing the Battle Royale this week, I'm actually going to do some What I Am Thinkings, specifically on Dick Grayson's new persona and the ethnicity change of Wally West and the Flash. But we'll get to that a little bit later on in the video. I want to apologize up front. I haven't posted a video the past 2 weeks, and there was three reasons why. Reason one, number one, I just been way too busy and I got overwhelmed with a lot of stuff, which goes into reason number two. Mother's Day was last week, and I kind of got strung into that. But the majority and the main reason is the internet connection is horrible at my apartment. When it comes to uploading videos, so it takes forever to upload. So I'm going to try to condense this video as short as I can, while at the same time giving you guys as much content as I can. Sucks because there's a lot of good books that came out that I wanted to talk about, like Amazing Spider-Man, which I did pick up. Which was okay. Didn't wow me, but it was okay. And then the Batman Eternal issues that came out that week, which were pretty good. The free comic book stuff, which like Futures End, so on and so forth. So I also got Mighty Morphin Power Rangers free comic book. So, anyways, unfortunately, I'm not going to go backtrack and review those because what's done is done. There's no point. You guys probably already read what you wanted to read. But we're going to get into this week of comics, and we are going to start where we always start, with a little bit of Batman in our life, with Batman Eternal issue number 6. So, Batman Eternal's last issue I thought was one of its stronger issues because it dealt with characters in Gotham, not just Batman. For example, it dealt with the Gotham Gazette and Vicky Vale, and Red Robin was in it, and it was very well handled. This issue also deals with stuff in Gotham, but more of the supernatural side. We have the Spectre show up, and we also see Batwing work with the Spectre. And something's going on in Arkham, which deals with a newer villain in the Batman universe. There is a little bit also about the gang wars that's going on, and also stuff that started in Catwoman that's kind of crossing over into this with some other villains. On a whole, I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. Last couple issues up to issue 5 have been 4 or 5s out of 5 for me. This was still a good issue. I liked how the Spectre was portrayed. I thought this was probably one of the better interpretations of the Spectre so far, or at least of Jim, who is possessed by the Spectre. And I do like the fact that we're touching all angles of the Gotham universe, but I think everything else was kind of underplayed by the supernatural stuff here, and I think that hurt it a little bit. But it's still a fun read, so pick it up. Last few issues were great, so moving on. Batgirl issue number 31, the New 52 introduction of Ragdoll, whom, despite the fact that I read a lot of DC, I was never really exposed to too much. I mean, I know who Ragdoll is, I got to read a little bit of them, but I never really got exposed to him as much as, say, someone else would be. This issue was really, really good. Basically, what happens is Barbara's friends kind of get strung into doing uh, activism kind of stuff, which turned into terrorism. And Ragdoll is sent in there to kill them, and Batgirl has to save them. It sounds very cliche-ish, but the battle scene in this is great. Ragdoll is really creepy. The dialogue is spot on, and there's emotional tension. There's still that ongoing story that is with her boyfriend and him getting shot by Commissioner Gordon. So, uh, on a whole, it was a good issue. This will get a 5 out of 5. Pick it up. It is fun. It's a decent jumping on point. There's a few things that would be tough to read, but it's still decent jumping on point. Green Lantern Corps issue number 2 of 6, Uprising, or not 2 of 6, number 31, but Uprising 2 of 6. I really like Green Lantern Corps, and this issue is an example of this. This will get a 4.5 out of 5. Basically, John Stewart goes to save all the Green Lanterns whose rings were stolen from by the shape-shifting aliens, which were the Clothes, or I forget what their name. Anyways, they have to go in there and save the Green Lanterns. It's just a great battle scene with the return of a former Green Lantern that I think a lot of people would like to see come back, and the stakes are getting even higher and higher. So this is a 4.5 out of 5. Really just pick it up. Green Lantern Corps is continuously a solid book, and if they were ever thinking of killing John Stewart, that would have been a bad idea. Miss Fury, issue number 11, the last issue of Miss Fury. So it's kind of funny. Miss Fury has been a relatively confusing and uh, jumpy book, for lack of a better term. However, this issue ties everything together, but it just feels so rushed. I would have liked this issue if it was an issue number 15 in wrapping up the story. But basically, we find out exactly how she's jumping back and forth through time and how she can use it to her advantage and get her happy ending. Almost very Bioshock Infinite ending kind of ish, if you played Bioshock. This was a 3.5 out of 5. I don't like how it wraps everything up too neatly, too quickly, um, but it was still a very good issue. And it's a shame Miss Fury's ending. I would like to see a reboot of her series and have it be more crime noir, but hey, it is what it is. G.I. Joe, a real American hero, issue number 202. So Zartan has to go and assassinate the Baroness and Destro to get his sister back. And that's the basic gist. And there is a lot of fun fight scenes in this. One thing I've been complaining about the G.I. Joe books as of lately is they've been very dialogue heavy. However, this issue had the right balance between dialogue and action. The fight scene between Baroness and Zartan is pretty cool. And the ending was, on a whole, very nice and makes you want more. I do recommend picking this up. This will also get a 3.5 out of 5. Constantine, issue number 14. Oh, and we're going to talk about Constantine in news and updates because someone got a trailer along with a few other shows. Uh, Basically, in this, Constantine is tracking down a evil trapping spirit that traps people and kills them. And in addition to that, the the Cold Flame, the magical group that Constantine's kind of part of, try to manipulate him from the background. This was a fun issue. This will get a 4 out of 5. I thought the dialogue was spot on. I thought the background stuff with the Cold Flame was pretty good, and I also liked the art too. The only thing that knocks it down a full point is just it feels like a random ass story, plain and simple. But besides that, good issue. Pick it up. Wolverine issue number 6. How I just don't care about this anymore. I know it sounds silly. Last issue I thought was a low point for the series. The whole tattoo issue is on my floor over there. This series actually has been relatively good and has kept my interest, but this issue and the last issue just really haven't. I felt as though the story just isn't as interesting, and while we do get some progression in this, I just I'm starting to lose interest. I don't care about Wolverine's group either, at all, not one bit. But I'm gonna stick to it, and I guess that Wolverine Will Die series is coming out, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know, 2 out of 5, nothing really interesting. But if we're talking Marvel, we're talking interesting. Let's talk about Captain America. Oh boy, Captain America takes on Doctor Mind Bubble, is it? And the Iron Nail. Yes, I'm just making sure I got the names correct. And they're just going toe to toe with each other. And there's a gripping moment in the beginning of the book, which you know shit is gonna go wrong with it once you start seeing what's happening. But yeah, Captain America gets pissed and all hell breaks loose, for lack of a better term. This will get a 5 out of 5. Solid story. Although I haven't been caring about the Iron Nail story arc on a whole, I thought this on a whole was a good story. So, or a good issue. So, pick it up and pick up the previous issues. The story is definitely getting better. Definitely the big point of this week was the Superman Doom issues, which starts off with Superman Doomed, Action Comics, and then Superman Wonder Woman. Basically, without revealing too much in this, a few things happen. One, we learn a little bit more about Doomsday, and we learn about his involvement in the DC Universe. A little bit more, not too much. Superman fights Doomsday in an epic fight, and then we deal with the repercussions of this fight. on a whole, these three issues I'm going to grade on their own, and I'm going to give them a 4.5 out of 5. I love the reintroduction and reinterpretation of Doomsday. I like how they're very vague that Superman fought Doomsday beforehand. And I like how grandiose this is. This is such a big deal in the DC universe that the founding members of the Justice League kind of come back together. They even get Hal back in there, even though it's like a hologram communication. I mean, these seven members come back together and say, Doomsday, this is not good. So, I mean, the artwork was good, the tension was good, and the emotion was good. I think there's a few hiccups here and there. I really don't care about the Lois stuff, and I don't think they really should be pulling the whole Lois Brainiac psychic stuff right now during this story arc, where it's clearly going to be showing up in other story arcs. But yeah, Superman Doomed, Action Comics 31, and Superman and Wonder Woman 8. Solid stories. Pick them up. Well worth it. Moving on to Superboy issue number 31. Now, this issue was pretty fun. I like the whole Guardian thing going on and them working with pseudo Cadmus. I know it's not Cadmus, but and he's kind of have this group that he's working with, which is cool. I like that. And he goes up against the Parasite, which was cool, and I like that. The only thing I don't like is that this isn't Connell. Don't get me wrong, John Kent as Superboy is intriguing, but I really miss Connor. I know that sounds silly, but I really do. I keep on thinking about how much better this book would be if Connor was in it. 4 out of 5. Futures End issue number 2. So you didn't really hear my opinions on issue 0 and 1, but they were pretty decent issues. I don't know how I feel about futuristic stuff because, well, futuristic stuff continuity, you never know if it's going to stick or not. And especially when they're jumping this far in the future, you never know. But what I did like about these issues is that they do a good job at kind of making this future semi believable. The costume changes aren't that drastic. It almost feels like the DC universe before the New 52. Feels old and tempered, and shit has happened. I think people fail to realize how the status quo in comics will revert back to normal, change drastically too. So this issue on a whole was, I think, better than issue number 1. I the funeral was pretty cool, and I'm not gonna say who dies, but I think it's pretty obvious by the cover. The funeral was pretty cool, and I really like the tension going on in Firestar, Firestorm. Why did I say Firestar? Um, 4.5 out of 5. Huntress Power Girl, world's finest. So Huntress and Power Girl really want to go home, and Power Girl is doing everything in her power to go home, involving uh, breaking into military secret bases. And Huntress is out there saving lives. This I'm going to give it 3 out of 5. I like the art. I like the story. Well, I like the concept of them trying to get home. And the dialogue is good. The story, though, is just not that interesting. Like, I like the concept of it, but it's not being executed to a point where I care all that much. So, yeah, 3 out of 5. And finally, ending is Justice League United, issue number 1. So, issues number 0 kind of brought the team together. Issue number 1 kind of forms them together, if that makes sense. Basically, it's the Justice League United versus the big giant alien. And while this is going on, Adam Strange actually turns into Adam Strange. And we learned a little bit more about the alien, Bith, who is formerly a Hawkman alien villain. From the Silver Age of Hawkman. If you've read any of the Silver Age stuff, which you can pick up in Hawkman Showcase Presents Volume 1 and 2, Bith is actually the reason why Hawkman came to Earth originally, but who knows what's in the New 52. Oh, and an epic fight between Hawkman and Lobo. I'm liking the new Lobo. I like the old Lobo too. I kind of like how there's two Lobos. But the new Lobo is badass. I'm cool with the change. On a whole, this gets a 5 out of 5. My particular high point in this is Courtney and John, or Stargirl and Martian Manhunter, working together. Now they've kind of developed this almost teacher, big brother, father relationship with daughter, student, little sister relationship is really quite cool. And Adam Strange getting his costume is pretty cool too. So 5 out of 5. As for my picks of the week, in particular the comics that stood out to me, well, Should really do it like this. Uh, Coming in at number 3 as my pick of the week is going to be Captain America. Like I said, I don't care too much about the story arc, but it's being well told. So you can't complain with good writing and also great art and great fight scene. Number 2 goes to Justice League United. This, like I said, is just a fun Justice League book of fun, rip-roaring, swashbuckling adventures. And finally, my number one picks goes to the Doom series, the Superman Doom series. Like I said, I really like what's happening with Doomsday, and I like the gravitas of the book. So, as for news updates, let's throw them all out now. Watch all the trailers for Constantine, Flash, and Gotham, and all of them I'm excited for. I don't know which I'm excited for more, but they all look really good, and I'm going to be watching them all. I actually watched the trailers a couple times because they were that good. Really fun. I think the guy that they got for Constantine was pretty spot on. Flash, I mean the whole him running like sometimes doing superpowers on television shows can be iffy, but they pull off his super speed pretty good, and I'm interested to see where this show is gonna go. And the Gotham show just it looks great. It looks great. So I'm excited for those. I did watch Batman and Son or the Son of the Batman DVD that came out. A pretty decent DVD. Deathstroke was portrayed interestingly in it. A little bit different than what his normal story is, but it was fun. I would say it's like a 3 out of 5. Worth watching, but probably on demand. And I've also watched Captain America 2: The Winter Soldier, which was like 2 weeks ago. So I would have talked about it 2 weeks ago, but I didn't get a chance. It was a good movie. I don't think it was good as everyone said it was. I actually enjoy the first Captain America movie a lot more, probably because the villain isn't as well defined in this movie. And I know it's not supposed to be, the whole Hydra attacking from within kind of stuff. But I don't know. You need a focal point for the villain, and Winter Soldier wasn't really that focal point. He's a grunt. That's plain and simple. He was a cool grunt, really badass, good fight scenes, but he was a grunt. So, but it was still fun, and I still recommend going to see it. Uh, Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire is coming out. So pumped! It has third gen is my favorite generation, and it has some of my favorite Pokemon games. Particularly, my favorite Pokemon game is Fire Red, which is a remake of the original game. But Ruby and Sapphire were games that I pour hours into. Keyword is hours, days almost. I mean, the games were so good, so good. I would restart them and play them again, and I can't wait for these remakes. I'm interested to see what they're changing up, how they're going to incorporate the X and Y stuff. Are we going to get more Mega Evolutions? I mean, exactly what's going to go on. So I'm looking forward to these remakes big time. What else is happening? I got the Greg Capullo Batman and Nightwing figures. So I know that's not much news. Uh, is there anything else news-wise? No, not that I can think of. I hit it all. Right there. Right there, I hit it all. Let's pull up the questions and answers, which in theory, not in theory, technically I already answered, but those were in the videos that I couldn't upload. So I'm going to have to do them here. So it's going to ask me to sign in. YouTube, you dangerous little girl, you. Sign me in. There we go. Okay, let's pull up the questions for the previous video. And again, I apologize that I haven't been able to put up videos. It's just this internet is horrible here. Hopefully my yes, delete. Hopefully my wife and I can move and get a place where one, we can have pets, and two, we can have better internet. It is what it is. Okay, again, these are a little old, like 2 weeks, but here we go. Akuna Koda Z. Are you ever, if you're ever low on money and you want to buy some trades, do some trade shopping, InStockTrades.com is pretty cheap. Most of my comics come around to the $15 mark. If it's a hardcover, it's $10. If it's a $15 mark if it's a hardcover and $10 if it's paperback. Don't and doesn't charge taxes for orders over $50 and get free shipping. I will keep that in mind. Thank you very much. I might be getting some more trades soon. Nick Lenz. Andrew, 5 questions for you. First, have you thought about doing a countdown of the best and worst villain month issues? Second, have you thought of doing a video game walkthrough, and what game would you start with first? Third is, what's your favorite Batman villain list? Fourth, are you thinking of doing picking up the Storm ongoing title? Fifth, is the New 52 retconning Batman Long Halloween and the return of with the return of Carmen Falcone in Batman Eternal. First question: have I thought about doing a countdown of the best and worst villain month issues? No, because I don't remember the villain month issues as well. Plus, I have them all stored away, and I don't feel like getting them. Second, if I thought about doing a video game walkthrough, and what game would I start with? Yes, I would want to do a video game walkthroughs. It's just a matter of the copyright stuff that it floats around on YouTube, and I don't have capturing devices. And what games would I do? Probably the games I'm currently playing, at least at first. So right now it would be Luigi's Mansion and Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty. Third, um, do you have a favorite Batman villain list? I do, and I might pull it up sometime. Fourth, are you thinking of picking up Storm's ongoing title? I'm flirting with the idea. I do like Storm as a character, but I've just been burned so much by the X-Men comics. I really don't want to pick up any more of them. Fifth, is the New 52 retconning Long Halloween with the return of Carmen Falcone? Long Halloween was kind of retconned a while back with Batman and Robin or Batman and Two-Face, where they redid Two-Face's origin, which is fine. I mean, Long Halloween was great, but you can, and I'm sure elements of it's still there, but change happens, and it's inevitable. So, yeah, Long Halloween's been retconned out, or at least bits and pieces of it is. Steve Dela Cruz. It sounds like Link versus Gandalf. Link being the skilled warrior and the magical blade, and Gandalf being a demigod. King Arthur has what I was talking about the last battle royale. Again, King Arthur doesn't have an invincible cloak and the ranged weapons that Hercules has. Hercules has naturally gifted speed. The difference between King Arthur and Link is Link has 90 million different items to use with, which King Arthur would rely on Excalibur. I still go with Hercules. Battle Royale, Nightwing versus Winter Soldier. It might happen. I gotta get back in the Battle Royales once these videos are finally getting uploaded. Tom Pollock, what do you think of Zack Snyder directing Justice League? I'm okay with it. I mean, he did good with Superman. I enjoy Watchmen every time I watch it more and more, and 300 was a good film, so why not? Kira Whack. Have you, whatever happened to the scrawny kid with spiky hair did reviews of the Masked Sword on your channel? Does he still clean the blade every week? And you need to do some more top 10 lists. What I do at work sometimes is if I get an idea of a top 10 list, I put it on my phone. It doesn't matter of having time to do them. As for cleaning the sword, I do clean it from time to time. It's at my parents' house. I did bring it here because I don't think bringing a sword to this apartment complex would have been a good idea. Green Arrow Hunter, hey Andrew, if you could have Superman powers for 24 hours, like an All-Star Superman, what would you do with them? Battle Royale, Spectre versus Ghost Rider. For the first hour, I would be incredibly selfish and use my super intellect to determine what the winning lottery numbers are going to be, and secure my fortune. And then the other 23 hours is going to be me going around saving the world or finding a cure for cancer or something, doing something that can really benefit the world. I would use the super intellect more than anything because it's the things you can figure out is ridiculous. Felipe19991. Hey Andrew, I have 2 questions for you. Was Zatanna a member of the Justice League during Trinity War or just helping out Batman like she did before Justice League Dark existed? Yes, she was a member of the Justice League, but she switched back to Justice League Dark after the end of Forever Evil. And what's going to happen to Katana and Vibe since the JLA don't exist? Doesn't exist, and their solos were canceled, and weren't they on the JLU? The Justice League United. No, they're not on Justice League United. And to be honest, I don't know where Katana and Vibe are gonna go. I know Katana's been in Green Arrow quite a bit, so if you want your Katana fix, she's written a lot better there than she was in her own series. Stephen Morgan, can you do another Batman timeline video, please? Okay, guys, I explained why I haven't done timeline videos. Plain, flat, and simple. One, I don't have my graphic novels here. Two, is the New 52 is kind of hard to discern what the timeline video should be. I haven't figured out exactly where everything is placed. And lastly, if you want a video that's anything pre-New 52, just watch my previous ones because it's pretty much everything there that's pre-New 52. Um, Again, continuity is kind of mixed up right now. I don't know what to do as a timeline video. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying this is always asked. Give you guys the same answer. When I figure out the timeline for Batman, the continuity, then I'll do it. But I haven't figured it out yet because you can put stuff almost anywhere and not have a discernible list. Exivalis, Sir Andrew. Andrew, you punked me out last week. If you felt like you missed out on being a gamer, mostly being a Wii U gamer, then this video you mentioned you bought a bunch of Xbox games, so I apologize. You got to play Metal Gear. I didn't mean to punk you out. I just don't talk about things that aren't Nintendo because I really don't care about the non-Nintendo games. I mean, I have a ton of non-Nintendo Xbox games. They just don't impress me like Nintendo does. And that's the thing. That's why I'm happy with Nintendo. Is it's so good. I don't care about the other stuff. Sure, there's great games from time to time. Like I really enjoyed Tomb Raider when I played it. I thought it was a good reboot, but I mean, I enjoy Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze more. And which game got more prestige? Um, More people would say Tomb Raider, but I thought Donkey Kong was a better game. But I like Nintendo games a lot more. That's just me. Hey, everyone has an opinion. Um, Xvalis also asks, Austin St. John in his channel said that he didn't do Legend War because of the money and the lack of respect that the offer showed him. Don't you think he owes it to the fan base, such as yourself, to do a reunion? Look at Jason Frank. He said that he would be doing stuff for $1, and he's the longest running and most popular ranger. I just think he should swallow his pride a bit. I'm actually subscribed to Austin St. John's Facebook, Twitter, and his YouTube, and I cannot disagree more. Respectfully, cannot disagree more. What Austin St. John was being offered was ridiculous. It was enough for a plane ride there and back. Two, Austin doesn't owe us anything fan base wise about returning. Austin has returned not once but twice. He returned for Zero and he returned for Forever Ed. I think Forever Ed was a nice little send off for most of the Red Ranger characters. So um, Austin doesn't owe us anything in that terms. And again, he like other Rangers are not being treated well. You look at all the other original Rangers that were offered, whether it be Walter Jones um, or David Yost. I'm sorry, for some reason I forgot David's name. You look at them and their responses are pretty much similar. Some Rangers weren't even offered. You got to understand. I love Power Rangers. I really do. I mean, look at my display over here with my Forever Jason and my Power Rangers and more Power Rangers. I love them, but Saban does not treat its people well. And with Jason David Frank saying he'd do things for $1 and keep on doing it until he dies, yeah, that's fine. Jason David Frank won't be paid $1. He's going to be paid a lot more money because he promotes it a lot more. The reason why Austin's probably not getting paid as much is because Austin doesn't promote it. He went off, he did a life outside of Power Rangers, and he wanted to become a medic and other things, which is his choice, which is good. I support that. I mean, he's doing a service to the community. But that's one of the things. Jason David Frank gets paid a lot of money to do appearances. And I wouldn't say he's the most popular ranger. I would say he's within the top 10, not top 10, 10 top 5, but I wouldn't say he's the most popular ranger. That's up to debate. I don't think there is a most popular ranger, but of course, Jason David Frank is going to say stuff like that because he does get paid a lot of money. He gets paid a lot at conventions, so he doesn't have to worry about money at all. Um, that's kind of the thing. And do you notice, and it doesn't make you raise an eyebrow a little bit more that Jason David Frank was the only one from the original Power Rangers that returned? Not Billy, not Kimberly, not Zach, not Aisha, not Rocky, not Jason, not Adam, not Kat. I fun of them. Hmm? Makes you kind of raise an eyebrow. So I don't think Austin owes us anything. I think the fact he's returning from his life that he chose, a life of servitude to the public, returning it to do conventions is fantastic. And I think he should show self-respect by not taking an offer like that, and not for a plane ride front to back. So that's my personal opinions, and I respectfully disagree. One more comment from X Valis. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie is announced this week. So, what do you want to see from the new movie? And David Frank better be in it. He's been trying to get the Green Ranger spinoff for a long time. I hope none of the original cast is in it. I think they should do a completely new cast, which I think they're going to do. I just want to see the movie done well. That's all I care about. I don't want anything special. I just want it to be loyal to the previous stuff with Power Rangers while at the same time doing its own fresh spin. Say what you want about the original Power Ranger movie, it was still a fun ride. It was completely disconnected from continuity, but I mean, the suits were kind of cool. The morphing scene was pretty cool. The fight scenes were pretty cool. It's just the fight at the end was stupid. The Zord fight, oh god, it was so bad. So bad. The CGI was so bad. But I mean, Ivan Ooze was even a kind of a fun villain. Black Comic Geek. I hate the art in Superman Batman. Art is also objective, so I can't comment. I love it, but you can hate it. Captain Marvel Thunder. Did you read DC Masters of the Universe crossover and what did you think of it? I did not because I don't really read or follow Masters of the Universe He-Man. Blue Lantern of 2814, Part 4 of Force Contact came out before Part 3. That might be why the ending felt like it ended already. Oh, thank you, Blue Lantern. I figured it's something like that, but it just didn't feel right. And finally, X Balance. I just thought of the ultimate battle of Legend Mario versus Sonic. A death battle already did Mario versus Sonic, and the results were pretty much spot on to what it should be. I'm going to do quick two what I am thinkings. One of which is going to be about the change of Dick Grayson, and the other will be the change of Wally West and the New 52, because those characters are both getting pretty much changed up. So I'm going to pause the video right now for a quick second, and then we'll go into it. So I'm gonna do this what I am thinking all in one video because I figured it's just easier to upload and hey, might as well let's go for it. Going to talk about two big changes to characters in the DC universe. Very well loved characters. The persona change of Nightwing or Dick Grayson and the ethnicity change of Wally West. So we might as well just jump into it. Let's do Dick Grayson first. The first thing I want to say is that everything I say in this is purely opinionated. I mean, you don't have to agree with it. Everyone kind of deals with change their own different way. I'm more accepting of change than other people. However, I do have things that I don't like seeing change at all. But I'm going to give you guys my opinions on these changes to these characters, and hopefully it might help you guys out, or maybe you guys just don't get two lickings. But in any case, let's talk about Mr. Grayson. So Dick Grayson is the first Robin, Nightwing, and was Batman for a short time. And Nightwing is probably the persona he's most well known for. After Forever Evil, Dick Grayson is going to be Nightwing no more. But rather, he's going to be super secret agent Archer Sterling. I mean, James Bond. I mean, Dick Grayson. Sorry, I got a little confused there. Dick Grayson is going to be an agent of Spiral, which is a super secret organization that was created in Grant Morrison's run of Batman Inc. And basically, DC said that they want to touch upon a part of the DC universe that hasn't really been touched upon: espionage and spy stories. So, what are my overall opinions on this? Well, Nightwing is my favorite interpretation of Dick Grayson, my favorite persona of Dick Grayson. And to see him no longer be Nightwing, yeah, it does hurt me a little. But it's a kicker. There's two things that make me okay with this. Thing number one is that Dick Grayson, more than any other character in the DC universe, is an adaptable character. He's had multiple different personas. He's been a teen sidekick as Robin. He's been the leader of the Teen Titans as Nightwing. And he's been the Dark Knight and a Justice League member himself as Batman. He's had three personas already. Why can't he have a fourth? And more so over, if anyone can adapt between personas and be more than just the sum of his parts, it's Dick Grayson. Because when you think of Dick Grayson, you don't think of Nightwing or Robin or Batman. You think of Dick Grayson. You think about who's under the cowl. So why can't Dick be a spy? Why can't he have a different persona? DC's trying something new, which a lot of people complain that comic book companies don't do stuff enough new. So they're trying something new, and they're using a well-loved character for it, giving the character a fresh new spin. I'm sure Batman has enough allies that wear masks. Why can't he have one that doesn't have a mask? Again, I'd rather him be Nightwing, but is this such a bad thing? He's had like 10 personas so far. Not 10. He's had three personas so far, three identities. I don't think of Dick Grayson as those identities. I think of him as Dick Grayson. So I won't think of him as this identity either. I'll think of him as always as Dick Grayson. So why not? That's the major thing. Number two is if this does not work, if you truly do not like Dick Grayson trying a different persona, which is fine, you don't have to. You don't have to like everything everyone else likes. And for all I know, I read it and I'll hate it or love it. There's always a chance for him to go back to being Nightwing. The same thing that happened with him being Batman. He was Batman for a short time. We all knew it was temporary. Bruce came back. What happened? He became Nightwing again. If this does not fly, if this does not work, what do you think is going to happen? He's going to become Nightwing again. DC even kind of hinted to a loophole that the reason why he's joining Spiral is to clear his name or rectify his name. Well, if this doesn't work out, guess what happens? He gets his name back, his identity back, and he can be Nightwing again. So, why not try something new, which really has no risk to it? We have nothing to lose to this, because the Nightwing persona is always there for us to go back to. So that's why I am not too up in arms about Dick Grayson being Nightwing. Actually, I'm not being Nightwing and being someone else. Actually, I'm quite okay with it because my worry was Dick Grayson dying. I don't want Dick Grayson to die. So I'll take alive, super secret, Sterling, James Bond, Archer, Nightwing, Dick Grayson over a dead Nightwing any day. That is my quick opinion on Nightwing. As for the ethnicity change of Wally West, this is something I'm actually pro for. And why? Well, there's a couple reasons. I think a lot of people are up in arms because Wally West has been such a polarizing character in some people's youth. He is their Flash, plain flat and simple. And an ethnicity change seems a little drastic for a character. However, I'm okay with it, and I'm actually pro for it for a couple reasons. Reason number one, there has been multiple different Flashes, but it seems like DC's kind of just wanted to stick with one Flash. They want to have a classic look for that Flash, whether it be costume, ethnicity, occupation, or personality. That Flash is going to have that classic look because Wally West as a Flash was really no different from Barry Allen as a Flash. Maybe a little bit more of a jokester, not quite as straight edge, but they were pretty relatively the same. I read both of them. They're pretty relatively the same. So pick your poison. They decide to go with Barry. Cool. So you have the main Flash there. Why can't his supporting group have diversity in it? Why can't Wally West be of a different ethnicity? Now, I'm not talking about how the character has been portrayed so far, because right now we've only had two issues of him, and I'm not going to address how the character has been written, because, again, we've only had two issues. For all I know, the character could be written dishonorably to what he previously was, and it just go to shit. But what's wrong with Wally West being of a different ethnicity? Why can't we have a black Kid Flash? Or even more so, why can't we have a black Flash maybe sometime in the future? which I don't think will happen. I think they're going to keep with Barry always being the Flash. Um, but why not? In addition to that, I don't think Wally West is as popular or as well known as a character where this ethnicity change is a big deal. Let me point out. Aqualad going from white to black. No one's going to really bat an eyebrow about it because he's not a big character. The Atom going from white to Asian, not a big deal because he's not an overwhelmingly popular character. However, if, let's say, Cyborg goes from black to white, or Batman goes from white to black, it just doesn't really make sense because those characters are iconic in their motif, their makeup, their look, their ethnicity. They're defined basically is solidly set in stone. Um, you're never going to see them change the ethnicity of those characters. Jon Stewart suddenly becoming Asian doesn't make sense. However, Adam being the new Adam being Asian, that's okay because one, you're changing up the character, but also the Adam isn't a huge character. But Jon Stewart is a very well-known character, and I think his race is something that's definitely been solidified in stone. Wally West, I don't think so as much. I don't think Wally West as polarizing of a character. And again, why can't we have that diversity when it comes down to the Flash family? Look at Green Lanterns. We have Hal Jordan, who's white. We have Simon Baz, that's Arab. We have Jon Stewart, who is black, and we have Kyle Rayner, who's Hispanic. If you didn't know that, some people don't know that. Kyle Rayner is actually half Hispanic. His father was Hispanic. I think it was his father, and his mother was Caucasian. And then you have Guy Gardner, who's just a dick. That's his ethnicity, dickhead. But there's a huge slew of diversity in the Green Lanterns. The Green Lanterns are interchangeable, so why can't we have that in the Flash? Um, again, I'm all for more diverse characters in comics. There's a lot of white characters in comics and not enough of other ethnicities. And certain characters you can't change. You can't change the ethnicity of Superman. You can have a black Superman, which is happening on Earth too, which I think is great. And I'm all for Val becoming Superman. His new costume looks awesome. But let's just take the core founding members of Justice League. They will not change. Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Batman, Superman, I already said Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg. They will always stay the staples of that DC universe. Same as Spider-Man, Captain America, Wolverine. You'll never see their ethnicity change either. However, supporting characters, other characters, why not? And not even supporting characters. Why not new characters who could become big A-lister characters? Why not diversify them? I have a friend who is black, and he is completely 100% on board with Wally West changing his ethnicity, and he's been one of the biggest Flash fans there is. He's loved Wally and the TV show, and he loves Wally in the comic books, and he thinks this is a great change. Now, again, whether Wally is written well is different, because that's where it's all important. You can change someone's ethnicity, but whether or not it's handled well is a different case. If Wally West is written well and the character has great development, then that's good. If it's not written well, it could all go to shit. So, with Dick Grayson, I am whatever. I don't care. With Wally West, I'm cool with them changing his ethnicity, long as it's written well. I would be glad to hear your opinions on the subject because this is kind of a taboo subject, always talking about race change, especially wanting to say the right thing when it comes down to other people's opinion. You want to make sure that what you say is respectful, and that can always be a tough thing. But I am curious to hear your opinions on this subject because Wally West is a very well-loved character, although he's not as polarizing as some other characters per se, like Bruce Wayne as Batman. People still know him as their Flash. So I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Okay. So with that said, I'm going to end this video here. This is Andrew saying peace out for now.